When the Johnson family moved into the old Victorian house at the edge of town, they didn't notice anything unusual at first. The floors creaked in the usual way, and the pipes groaned with the seasons. It wasn't until the first night that they heard it, a slow, deliberate breathing coming from beneath the floorboards. At first, it was easy to dismiss maybe an animal, or the old house settling, but the breathing didn't stop. It came every night, low and rhythmic, almost matching the Johnsons' own heartbeats. Sarah, the youngest, complained first, saying she could feel eyes on her even when she slept. Her parents tried to laugh it off, chalking it up to imagination. The strange noises escalated over the weeks, always under the floor. Just beneath the soles of their feet, when they knocked on the floor, the breathing paused for a moment and then continued. Heavier, as if whatever was down there was irritated. They tried placing traps for rats and calling pest control, but the inspectors found nothing one night. Mr. Johnson swore he saw the floorboards shiver, tiny ripples running across the old oak, like a living thing just below the surface. The sound of breathing grew louder, now accompanied by faint scratching, as if claws were dragging beneath the house. Their cat refused to enter the living room, hissing and arching its back at nothing visible. Neighbors whispered about the house's history, tales of the previous owner disappearing without a trace. Locals claiming the house had something beneath it, but the Johnsons laughed nervously, unwilling to consider the possibility that the stories were true. Still, every night, the breathing continued, patient and waiting, as if the house itself had become alive and hungry. By the end of the month, the family's sleep was fractured, filled with nightmares of being trapped under the floor themselves. Sarah began drawing pictures of shadowy forms peering through the boards, faces without eyes, and she refused to step into the living room after dark. The house seemed to pulse, with life beneath their feet, and the breathing had become a constant companion. Mocking, patient, and undeniably sentient, Sarah's drawings became more elaborate, showing long limbs stretching from the cracks between the floorboards, reaching up toward the ceiling. Her parents dismissed them as childish imagination, but the feeling in the house had grown oppressive, like a storm trapped under the floor. The breathing had changed, too, from slow and rhythmic to irregular, almost taunting one evening. Mr. Johnson decided to investigate more closely, removing a section of the floorboard in the living room. He expected a nest of rats or a hollow space, but found only dirt, compact and undisturbed. The air that rose from the opening was cold and smelled faintly metallic, and he felt a pressure, as if something below had noticed the intrusion. That night the breathing was louder than ever, accompanied by faint thumps, like something moving with deliberate purpose. Sarah whispered that she could hear voices intertwined with the breath, low murmurs that sounded like they were calling her name. The family tried to leave the house, but each time they stepped outside, a sudden dizziness or nausea forced them. Back inside, shadows began appearing along the walls at night, not cast by anything visible in the room. Dark shapes that lingered at the edge of vision, vanishing when anyone looked directly at them. Their dog, normally playful, cowered and growled toward the floor, teeth bared, ears flat, as if warning. Then, one night, Mrs. Johnson awoke to the feeling of hands brushing her ankles under the bed. Cold and wet, the sound of breathing was now directly under the bedroom floor. Synchronized with the pulse of her own terror, she tried calling out to her husband, but only a garbled whisper escaped, a mix of human and something else, the family realized, in dread, that whatever was beneath them had grown aware of their awareness. It watched them, studied them, and it was no longer content to remain silent. It wanted acknowledgement, connection, maybe even something darker, as if the house itself was a conduit for a presence trapped and patient. The Johnsons tried everything: psychics, priests, even demolition contractors, but nothing could reveal the entity beneath. The breathing had changed into a deliberate rhythm, like footsteps pacing beneath the floor. Counting, marking time, Sarah refused to leave her room, barricading the door with furniture. Yet even there she could hear the slow inhale and exhale beneath her. Objects began disappearing and reappearing in strange places, sometimes embedded into the floor as if shoved through from below. One morning, Mr. Johnson found his shoes arranged in a perfect circle on the living room floor. Soles down, heels touching, the breathing grew frantic, faster, like laughter, accompanied by the faint sound of scratching nails. One night, while attempting to sleep, Mrs. Johnson felt the mattress shift violently, as if pulled downward. A voice whispered her name from below, soft and intimate, yet dripping with malice. She tried to scream, but the sound caught in her throat. The floorboards groaned under an invisible weight, and the breathing was everywhere, surrounding her, inside her. The family began to turn on each other, paranoia taking root. Each claimed to hear whispers accusing the others, blaming, mocking. The entities seemed to enjoy their fear, feeding on it, coaxing them closer to madness. Their dog vanished one night, leaving only faint claw marks in the carpet, and Sarah claimed she saw it walking toward the floorboards on its hind legs, its eyes black and endless. By the third year, the Johnsons rarely left the house, their lives reduced to whispers and shadows. The breathing became part of the household rhythm, always present, always waiting. They were prisoners in their own home, under the gaze of something patient, something ancient. Their neighbors stopped visiting, murmuring about the smell, the strange sounds, and the hollow look in the family's eyes. And then one evening, the power went out. The house plunged into darkness. The breathing slowed, almost contemplative, and a single whisper rose above the rest. Welcome home, in the final year. The family was unrecognizable, pale and hollow-eyed, moving silently, speaking rarely. The breathing had become part of them, a shadow that followed, a heartbeat beneath their own. They tried to leave, but the roads seemed to twist, loops appearing as if the town itself had changed. They were trapped in a maze orchestrated by something beneath their feet. One night, Sarah disappeared, her door locked from the inside, the barricade shredded as if clawed away by invisible hands. The family could hear her breathing, but it was different, distorted, unnatural, mingling with the entity's rhythm beneath the floor. The walls seemed to pulse, groaning in unison with her fading cries. In desperation, Mr. Johnson tore up the living room floor entirely, revealing a hollow cavity, black and deep, swallowing the weak light from above. A shape emerged, a mass of shifting limbs and faces, breathing in perfect harmony with the house. The family realized with horror that the entity had been alive all along, but it wasn't just under the floor, it was part of the house, part of them. As the last light of the candle flickered, the house exhaled a long, deep, final breath, and the Johnsons felt themselves pulled down, absorbed into the darkness beneath the boards. Their screams joined the chorus of whispers that had haunted the house for decades. A new family moved in years later, unaware of the breathing beneath. Their feet, and of course, it began again, patient, waiting, hungry,